Hey everybody, IcyCat here with another in-depth map walkthrough. Today we're going to take a closer look at the French consulate. This is a pretty big building with lots of different areas to go into and connecting halls and trapdoors. Let's take a closer look and show you around. As I do today's walkthrough, you'll notice that I'm going to be using the Emerald weapon skin on all the guns. This is a new skin that just came out. I also just did a video kind of detailing this and showing some gameplay highlights. So if getting new skins is sort of your thing, then go ahead and check that out. I'll put the link down in the bottom of the screen here. Let's begin by taking a look at the spawn positions for the attackers. Our first one will be the riot barricade. This is in the southeast corner of the map. If you start here, it's a straight shot after these buses to get over to the visa office or the administrative offices. You can also get over to the front of the building by going through that route. The first camera position will also be over by the front door, just to the left by the gate. Our second spawn position will be the police line. This is due south, right in front of the building. If you come through this breach in the wall or through the gate over there, you'll get access to the front of the building. This is also where you'll find your first camera. We have a good shot over to the garage if we come around and vault over this railing or go around through the opening here. And we have a really good line to the roof if we come up here because there is a skylight. You can get up to the roof on any side of the building, but this will put you right in line with that first skylight on the other side of this AC unit. Next up is the gas station spawn. If we come through the side with the truck, we're going to be looking at the back side of the consulate structure. We can go up onto the roof and get on top. We can shoot through some of those windows there. They have the railings on them. Or we can come into the corner stairwell. We're also pretty close to the garage if we wanted to come down here in our first camera position. Garage is down below. And this staircase will give us access right up to the top of the building, or we can go right down into the basement if that's what we'd rather do. The final attacker spawn position will be the side entrance. If you come into the northeast corner of the map from this side, you're going to be able to get over to the administrative and visa offices, depending on which floor you go into. Get up, of course, onto the roof from any of these sides, or get to the back side of the outer stairwell and shoot through the windows or anything else that you want to do on this side of the building. Now let's take a closer look at all of our camera positions. If you come through the front gates here, these are the front gates on the south of the building facing the front door, and come right to the side on this pole is where you'll find your first exterior camera position. This is going to show a good line of sight on the front doors, the upper balcony, and over to the side. On the west side of the building, you'll find the garage entrance, and this is going to put us right next to our second exterior camera. If you look over here by the stairs that go up on this white pole, you'll find your second position. This is actually a pretty limited camera. It's not going to show you a whole lot of useful information, a little bit up above on the railing here, and part of this wall. I really find this to be a limited camera position, and there should at least be more coverage offered from this camera considering it's one of only two that are outside. Let's take a look inside now for our camera positions, and we'll start in the basement. Coming down into the garage area, this puts us right into the basement of the garage by the connecting hall and the cafeteria. Right in the corner, we're going to find this camera. This is going to show you anybody coming down the stairs or anybody breaching from the garage doors or the trapdoor in the ceiling. The second basement camera is going to be located just east of that position down the hallway. So this is right off the server room and the other staircase that comes from above. Right up in the corner, you're going to find this, and it's going to show you a little bit of the area below it and to the right, but mostly it's going to give you good overwatch into the supply room and this long hallway that goes to the back of the cafeteria. Now let's move up to the ground floor. So if we come through the front door, when we first enter, if we turn around and look straight up, we'll find the camera. It's right above the front door on the ceiling. And this is really just going to give you a great view of anything that's happening in this front lobby area, as well as a little bit of a peek into the rear foyer by the staircase that goes upstairs there. The next camera position will be found in the visa office on the first floor. If you come over by the vending machine and in the corner where there's the trapdoor on the floor, directly above from that, on top of the TV here, you'll find the next camera. This is going to really give a solid view of everything that's happening in the visa office. It will allow you to pan across, see into the windows, into the back office here, as well as a little bit down the hallways. Our next camera position is going to take us up the stairs. If we come to the spiral staircase, right behind the statue here, if we look straight up from that, Right in the ceiling is our next camera. This is going to show anybody coming in through the skylight, as well as the upper hallway. It's going to show you a pretty good sightline of anything moving on the stairs, as well as that lower foyer at the bottom of the stairs. Also on this upper floor, when we come in through the back exit stairs in the console front desk, we're going to see this one in the ceiling. This will be right next to the exit sign and right off the office area. This is going to give you a straight line of sight down the hallway and show you anybody that might be coming out of either the bathroom or from the waiting room on the side. Understanding trapdoors is pretty important in navigating any structure, but especially important to the consulate. There's so many of them. We'll find our first one in the second floor cabinet. This is just off the consulate office, and this trapdoor will open up and drop you down into the press room with the piano. The next trapdoor position is also on the second floor and will be located in the second floor meeting room. Opening up this panel will drop you straight down into the first floor lobby. The final trapdoor on the second floor is going to be located in the administration office. Opening up this panel will allow you to get a good sight line straight down into the visa office and get a drop on anybody that's through here. But be careful when you drop down, as you will be vulnerable to either window, but if you come down with this middle one here, you should be okay. Moving down to the first floor, we've got a lot of access points into the basement. And if we start in the first floor lobby and come off to the side here, we actually have this small closet. It's so small it doesn't even register an area on the compass. But if you hit this one and drop through, you're going to find yourself in this little area right off to the side of the service stairs that come down from the basement. And this will put you off the back of the cafeteria. Additionally, the first floor lobby is going to hold a trapdoor right behind this center console desk. And opening up this one is going to put you into the cafeteria proper. So if there's anything going on here, you'll drop right into the thick of it. Just off to the side of the first floor lobby, if we come into the bathroom area, we're going to find a trapdoor in the floor. This is directly across from the bathroom stalls. And opening this one up is going to drop us straight into the garage, right over the stairs next to the cafeteria. Coming into the first floor east corridor, our next trapdoor is going to open up and give us some access down into the basement. However, this one's going to put us in a great electric room just off to the side of the server room. This is a cool one because when you drop down, you can engage anybody that's in the server room or make a hole in the wall and cover the side hallway. Coming down this hallway a little further into the visa office, we're going to find the next position right next to the vending machine. This is underneath the camera position we talked about earlier. And when we open up this trapdoor, we're going to go right into the back of the archives. Right into the corner here, you're pretty well protected by the shelving unit here. You also have a half cover wall in front of you, and this is one of the more protected areas to drop into for a trapdoor. Most of the other ones are pretty open. The last trapdoor position is also going to be located in the first floor visa office. This is actually right off the door if you come in from the outside, from the east of the building. And when you open up this one, it's going to put us into the other end of the server room in the archives corridor. This one is interesting because you can come through the door and engage anybody that's here, but you've got the back grating here. This is sort of like maybe like airflow cooling for all the heated servers that are in here. And if you drop through here, you can engage anybody that's back here pretty easily. You can also get here from the earlier position we talked about before from the closet in the first floor lobby, but this one is right next to it. Let's take a look at the general walkthrough for the map now. So we're going to start on the north side of the building. And the reason for that is we've got the garage over here to the southwest. We've got the corner stairway if we wanted to go over there in the northwest corner of the building. But what I want to show you is this first outer shell. On the other side of this curved structure is actually the interior central spiral staircase. And these windows have these bars on them. They're actually on different parts of this outer shell. And they do not have a barricade on them to start with. So you can shoot through here, and if you line up your shot between the bars, you can get your shot and without having to do any breaching of barricades. You can be shot just as easily from the inside, though. But coming up to the top, you're going to find your first of two skylights. This one is going to overlook that same area we were just looking into. And conversely, on the other side, we have the staircase below us, and we can get a little bit of a sight line into the second floor consulate office. Another kind of interesting point that we have is if we come over to this half wall on this side and hop up on a couple of these AC vents and then up on top of this wall, we can now rappel down, and this is going to put us in the balcony, which is right over the top of the front door on the south side of the building. So that's the front gate. Beneath us is the front door. You can rappel up the side to get onto this as well. And you've got these windows that you can then breach into and put us into the second floor meeting room. So let's start here. When we come in, we've got these stairs over here that we can come up or down. We've got on this side the second floor waiting room. This wall is fully breachable. If Sledge wants to cooperate, there we go. And we can come through into the second floor consulate area. This is the front desk section with the camera and the back stairs. In here, we've got the consulate office. We also have this little side area here. If you were a defender and you wanted to keep an eye on these windows, you can use, some murder holes to do that and still have a little bit of safety. As an attacker, if you wanted to get into this room, if you were coming from the stairwell here, you have a few options. This is where we had that skylight up above us. So if we were coming down the skylight and we wanted to get line of sight into here, we could put a breaching charge on this wall. And that will allow us to get a line right into the back of that office. Conversely, you could also come through and open up this little side section here and get into the same area. Also in this area, if we come off to the side, we've got the private bathroom. All the walls in here, these blue tile walls, are breachable, or black tile. You can make murder holes in here to look over the stairs or keep an eye on the office across from you. We have the second floor office here. This is the room that we entered before, so right on the other side of that. This whole wooden wall is breachable. Coming through here, we've got the second floor front office. This is right off those same stairs. And this puts us into the administration office. There's a lot going on in here. You have these cubicles. You can get on top of these. They're pretty useful for seeing over the top and popping up on targets. Or if you don't want to do that, you can make holes in these very easily and get line of sight on some people. This wall is an especially useful one to open up. You can keep a line on anybody that comes up these stairs here or watch for the longer shot. This whole side of this wall is completely openable. We have a couple of windows here on the eastern part of the building to be watched. And let's just come to the side office here. So all of these white walls can be breached. All of these white walls can be breached. So this is the second floor break room, and this is where we were talking about before. We could come through any of these wooden walls. But right here is a really interesting one. Again, this tile wall. If you hit this, now you've got a good line of sight down this section if you wanted to watch that from a little bit of cover. And let's just come through here. So now we've kind of looped a square. So think of this as a big square. We started here, went through there, came around into this side room on the other side of this wall, and then came through here. One big square. And that puts us back into the second floor hallway. From the top here, we have the central spiral staircase. This comes down, looking kind of like something out of Resident Evil. But come down the stairs here, and this is the rear foyer, so we're right off the back of the front hall. If we came through the front door, this is the room we'd be in. And let's start in here. We have this giant circular desk. We can use this as point of cover for anybody that's coming in if we wanted to do that. Also off to the side, we have this small closet area. We talked about this in the trapdoor section. None of these walls are breachable. These are all solid marble. You can't get through any of those. But once you start coming into this side hallway here, we can start opening up a few more options. We've got the restroom, and this one, any of these tile walls, we can breach through these and get a line of sight into any of these side rooms or hallways.
Reloading. Cover me.
We can come through here into the press room with the piano, which gives us some good cover if we need it. Again, this is the other side of the tile wall, so this whole wall can be breached. Here's where we've got the staircase we were in before, so this is where we were blowing the holes in the walls. This is the northwest corner stairs. And we can also go a little further down. We'll come back to that, though. So we've got this back hallway. The other side of this was that bathroom. And we can come back here. This is good if you've got like some long sight lines you want to engage on. We've got some stairs that go down here. We'll check those out again in a minute. There's all sorts of ways to get downstairs. And we find ourselves in the east corridor here. So we can either go straight or right. If we go right, we find ourselves into the teller area. And this wall over on the side can be opened up if we want to come through here. We can also come through any of these walls if we needed to do that. We've got these windows here. The front one is bulletproof, but the ones on either side can be barricaded or vaulted if we wanted to do that. So this is that same hallway again now. East corridor hallway. This will take us into the visa office. And this room has a lot of these plants that you can vault over these, or you can hide a drone in them. They're very useful for hiding drones. Unless their red lights give their position away, they're pretty easy to hide in there. None of these orange or salmon or whatever color walls can be breached or reinforced. So now let's take a look at our garage entrance. If we come through into the basement using the garage on the exterior, this puts us into the vehicle bay, and we can use these as sort of a covered approach as we move forward onto the loading dock. Back here, this entire wall is breachable. Anything with this surface with this gray and this red lettering can be breached in some way, shape, or form. So that's pretty much any of these walls can be breached in this way. Just for a point of reference, let's come back up here. This is the northwest stairwell. There is an exterior entrance here that people will come through oftentimes. And this puts us right back up to where we were before in the press room with the piano, and takes us further upstairs. So coming down here, you know, is something to be careful of, whether you're looking for people over there or coming through here. As a defender, you can sort of use some of these things as partial cover to engage targets with, depending on which way you're defending. And so on the other side of this wall, we've got the cafeteria section. In the cafeteria, again, all of these walls can be breached. All of these white walls can also be breached. And we can open up any of the lines of sight that we want here. So let's actually come through this way first. This is the basement corridor, and this will give us an opening into the security room. Again, this is the other side of this wall is where the cafeteria is. Or we can open up anything in here and give us a good line of sight on maybe somebody coming down the stairs or whatever we want to do there. It is sometimes also useful to make a hole and watch these back stairs if you think somebody's going to come down that way. So this is going to put us into the locker hallway. Now, this is that little staircase I was showing you before that I didn't go down. If we come back up here, this puts us right at the foot of that central spiral staircase in the middle. So that's where that leads. We'll come back down, though. And this locker room has a few different options for us. So we can go over to the server archives here, the storage room here. Let's go down and check out where this red light is. This is actually the back of the cafeteria. So if we came through here, we've got this locker hallway. These stairs go back up. The service stairs go back up to the visa office. And let's just come back down again. So getting our bearings here, we've got this storage room in this section. This could be useful for barricading and keeping an eye on those stairs if we want. Or you can come through here and try to breach into the archive room. This entire wall can be opened up. Also coming in through here, we've got we talked about this a little bit in the trapdoor section, but the electric room. This is great as a defender. You can make a murder hole in here and then watch down this hallway. Deeper into the server archive area, we've got this raised section here, which you can be on top of. You do want to be careful of that, though. While there's a lot of things to sort of hide behind, this back wall is completely open and can be shot through. This wall can also be opened. And we've got a lot of little nooks and crannies. These are good for setting up some deployable shields behind or something. That way you're protected from 3 points of cover. We also have a lot of little half-point cover, if you wanted to sort of get behind some of that stuff. This is the back corner right above us with the trapdoor. So it's good to be watchful of this position, especially if you haven't reinforced that. Coming into the back of the archive room here will put us into the archive corridor hallway. And we've got another trapdoor above us. So this is where you can shoot through into the next section. And we can breach through that wall. You can also breach through this wall if you needed to for any kind of reason. And that puts us at the base of the service stairs again. And that puts us at the base of the service stairs again. There's more than a few places in this map to put up some partial breaches. And while it's going to be impossible to cover all of them, let's take a look at a few. So when we are in the administration office, we want to be careful because a lot of the girders in the floor are going to run sideways. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. They're not going to run east to west. They're going to run north to south in this room. And there's certain sections where you can take good advantage of that. Like right below us is where we have that row of the like the plants and the seats and benches. So if we were up here and we made a hole in this wall, we could then shoot down, and we could even get a line onto that little corner section if we wanted to. Maybe I got to come around here, I guess. And this will allow us to shoot straight down on top of that if there's anybody that's sort of hiding in that back corner. A really great place to use a cluster charge is right off the first floor lobby when you come into this side hallway here. If you look where the floor transitions from marble to wood right over by this bench, if you stick a cluster charge right in the corner here, that's going to fill the whole cafeteria area. So if we check that out, let's go ahead and open that up. And anybody that's hiding in this area is really going to get it. Another really useful spot to put a cluster charge is if you come over to the corner of the piano, right over by where these tipped over chairs are. And then go ahead and place that down on the floor. You're going to fill up this whole area with cluster charges, and there is oftentimes a guy hiding behind there. So let's go ahead and just take a look and see what that's like. So anybody that would have been hiding back here would have been in a lot of trouble. You can also put a breaching charge on the floor in the Visa office. And doing that is going to allow us to see straight down into the server archive room. If anybody's hiding on this upper deck, you can get a line of sight on them, or you can even come a little deeper and open up another one on the other side of that same room. So this is going to put us right over the back of this hallway, sort of. Earlier we were showing this skylight as a good position to put a breaching charge on for a line of sight, but you can also use it to put a cluster charge on for pretty good effect. Right on the other side of this wall, there's a half wall to either side, and we want to kind of come right up the middle of that. So let's put our cluster charge here. The higher you put it, the more your arc will go like further out. If you want to fill the immediate area, just put it a little lower, but let's fill up this entire consulate area. This is going to get the closet and deeper into the office. So this is going to come right through the wall right about here. And let's just go ahead and open that up and show you what that looks like. So you can see by the debris marks, we reached clear across to the other side if anybody was behind this desk. This whole area has just been completely opened up. We even opened up the trapdoor in the floor, so very nice. Anything in here, you know, would have really gotten it pretty good. So here I'm going to set up a little combo. I've got a breaching charge on one part of the floor and a cluster charge on the other part. I've got the cluster charge to fill up the front section of the room. So we'll trigger that one first. Anybody in the front is going to be covered by that. And then if I use my breaching charge, that'll open up a hole in the wall here. And if anybody's kind of hiding in the back, I could get lines on them, or, you know, you can even dump on them if they're hiding behind the desk area. Next up, let's take a look at our drone spots. We don't really have much we can use to get into the exterior shell other than the doors. But if you come right off to the east of the main door, so east of the main door, right here, hopping up, we have a vent. And this vent is going to put us straight down into the service stairs and archive corridor. Just off the locker hallway, we have a small vent. This is right next to the service stairs, and this can put us into the storage room if we have reason to suspect anybody's hanging out in here. The other exterior position we have is right to the side of the garage door here, just north of the garage door. We have a vent that will open up right into the garage section. You can quickly get underneath any vehicles and kind of go from vehicle to vehicle if you need to sort of use that as a cover system to get around. Our next drone path is going to be in the west corridor. This one will put us right into the back of the bathroom, so if we wanted to check out anybody hiding back here. The next drone access is going to be located very quickly if we come in through the Visa entrance. And right underneath this painting, we're going to find one on the floor. It's covered by this bench, so if you wanted to even just leave it here, you'd be good, but you can go quickly upstairs or downstairs if you needed to do that. On the second floor, if we come up the main hallway section, just to the side of the double vending machines, We have a small vent access port that will allow us to get into the second floor break room. This can also wrap you around pretty quickly into the administration offices. There's a variety of other drone spots you can find around the map, but there's a surprisingly limited number of spaces where you can get drones up higher that are simpler and easy to use. There's a few 2-jump spots, 1 or 2 3-jump spots, but not as many vertical spaces for drones to go. You'll notice there's not a lot of furniture that are lining the walls that have a lot of height to them. More paintings and lower pieces of furniture like desks and things. But there's many good things that you can hide your drones underneath and still get good lines of sight. If you can get your drones into a few places that are up high like this, then you've definitely got some good lines of sight going on. If you can sort of remain undetected while you do it, this is a more complicated jump. This is a 3-stage jump in the archive room. And if you can get up here, you're pretty unlikely to be spotted. They might see your red lights on your camera, but it's a really good place to hide out. Getting underneath the desks in the administrative office is really good. You have a lot of, you can go underneath just about any of these desks and see a lot of the foot traffic that's going on around you. Being on top of the desks is going to be a little harder because you'll stand out a lot more, but underneath is going to be really well for you. This is a really good spot I like inside the console office. You can actually jump inside the bookshelf here. The first jump will shatter the glass, and the second jump will get you into the shelf, and this crossbeam supporting the doors will sort of partially obscure you, and you'll blend in very well to the environment in this one. Of course, going inside of any plants is always a really good idea. There's 1 or 2 spots where you can do that. This one at the base of the central staircase is maybe not as frequently used. Over here in the Visa office, you have some more useful areas for your drone to be put into with the plants. You can put them in any of the plant holders that are located in the room and hide them in there pretty well. Unless they see your red lights, you'll be able to get some solid intel from this room. Here's a neat little spot. If you jump onto here and then get on top of the vending machine, you can also overlook the entire room from this position. Here's a sneaky one in the garage. If you come in and you jump first on the white truck's hood and then jump up again on top of the roof, now you can go back and forth across the roof here and get some good intel going as you overwatch the entire garage. Also in the garage, getting underneath this stack of pallets is a nice one. Not a lot of people look down here for this, and you can see down the hallway or into the cafeteria from this position. If you can manage to time your jumps just right inside the cafeteria, you can get up on top of the cabinets in here and overlook just the general area from this side. If you'd rather get a perspective from the other angle, go ahead and approach it from the other side by the vending machine. A jump up there and then a jump across to the cabinets will have you overlooking from that side. Wherever you go, just try to remember to put your drone in a useful position so that when you die, you can pass that intel on to your team. So many times the attacker drones aren't left in good positions, and they're not a lot of use when that happens. Taking a look at our defensive positions, we're going to start with bomb defusal, and this is going to be in the console office and the meeting room on the second floor for bombs. And I'm going to recommend, first of all, setting up a reinforcement panel on this wall back here. Do be aware that at the top section, they could still sneak in a cluster charge of some sort, so be aware of that. I like to create a little bit of a murder hole on this back panel in case they come up the stairs, and I'll be ready for them with a shotgun. Or you could go across to the other side and make a murder hole through the bathroom as well. What I've done, though, is I've sort of barricaded those up, and that way if anybody comes through these entrances, I'll know. I like to keep this wall blown open so I can move between bombs A and B very easily. If you're not going to blow a hole, at least make a murder hole so you can make a line of sight on it, but they can easily put the diffuser behind the wall and out of sight, forcing you to come in here if you can't respond quickly. This entire wall I'm going to recommend you would reinforce as well, and then just keep an eye on the windows in case they try to come through there. Next up for bomb defusal, we have the lobby and press room. This is an interesting one because you don't have a lot to reinforce. None of these marble walls are going to be breachable. You're going to want to maybe put some in the back of the bathroom, though, to make sure that they don't come through there and there. And the other thing that's fairly useful in this section is if you take Capcan, you can put his lasers on the door here, and I'll show you why that's super effective. In most of them, you can see where his screw pokes through on the other side, but these are some very thick doorways. Look how far in that's recessed. It's not sticking out as far as it normally does. But putting them on these exterior doors works really well because, again, it hardly pokes through compared to some of the other ones. Like, let me show you the comparison of this versus the other one. And you can, by the way, influence which side of the door you place one of his charges on. If I'm on this side, the screw will place on that side. If I'm more on this side, it'll place on this side. But look how visible it is on one of these doors. I mean, it's just completely sticking through. Even with a barricade on there, that's very obvious it's there. But if you put them on those outer walls, you'll really have it hidden well. The final bomb position will be located in the garage and cafeteria. These are pretty close to each other, and you can definitely do some holes in the walls, and that way you can kind of see between both sides pretty easily. I'm going to recommend putting reinforcement panels all over this garage door. That's going to be very critical. And putting either mute jammers or bandits shock batteries on those to prevent thermite breaches. I would also recommend getting somebody upstairs for the reinforcement panels on the trapdoor there, and another one here. Go ahead and do some standard defense in this room. And then what I like to do is in this side security office, let's go ahead and put Tachanka's turret. And we're going to put this deployable shield here. If Bandit has another battery left, you can stick it on there to electrify that. If anybody comes in through this side door and tries to get them, in order to pick them off of there, they're going to have to come over here and get the line of fire, and in doing so, they're going to contact that and take some damage. They can, of course, shoot through the wall, but, you know, it's something you can do to sort of defend yourself. But when you're on the turret here, you can watch the stairs, or you can respond and defend bomb A, unless they go too far back, but you still have a very good arc of engagement here. You can even help on the garage doors if you don't get those reinforced properly or they find a way through. Taking a look at some of our secure area positions now, we've got one in the second floor administration office. Castle's a good one to use here. You've got a lot of windows and you'll get hit through these pretty hard if you're not careful. So put these on the two windows on the east side and back those up with mute signal jammers. Also, likewise, on the south side of the building, you have a window to do the same with. You can make some holes to overwash the stairs and some things like that. I would recommend putting in some kind of a barrier here to defend from getting through too easily, and go ahead and panel up your doors. Don't forget to use the cubicles themselves as some sort of cover by creating holes in them to shoot through, and they'll at least visually obscure your body when you're behind them the rest of the time. You can use these in a variety of ways for different angles, if you want to watch the windows or down hallways. And, you'll find all kinds of interesting ways to sort of use those for creative cover. Also, I recommend in the break room to make a hole in this wall and watch anybody coming through the door there. Secure area in the archives position is going to play pretty good because you don't have any windows to worry about. You do, however, have a lot of trapdoors. You've got one over here, and you have a couple in this back hallway. You've got one in the immediate archives corridor and another one over by the service stairs. So you've got lots of ways for people to come down with trapdoors. I'd say at least this one and the one in the archives proper, though, definitely go ahead and reinforce. And what I'm going to recommend doing is put up a reinforcement panel on this side wall here and take Kapkan. So check this out. If you come on the other side, you've got all these little cross braces sticking out that you'd normally expect to see. And then you've got the metal detector here. And if you stick... Now, remember what I said before. If I influence it on this side or on this side, it's going to determine where the emitter is going to go. So if I influence it on this side, stick it through, you can't see that. And it looks, even if you do sort of notice it, it looks kind of like one of the cross panels here that are sticking out on the supports. And when you get a door put up over that, I mean, forget about it. You have no idea that there's a Kapkan laser there. The other thing, and I talked about this a little bit before, but just create a murder hole in the corner here, and that's going to be really helpful. Another thing you can do is go ahead and open up this wall and create a zone of control in here. They can't breach through this wall or this back wall. So if you've got a panel up here, now you can create like a cross zone where you can get them on either side as they approach. And then, don't worry about necessarily this back wall. I did stick a panel on here, but, maybe you could put that one on this wall instead. If you're not going to open up this as a zone of control, though, you're going to want to reinforce this entire wall. Otherwise, you can have some guys up here kind of watching out for things, but you've got to be careful because this back wall is open and there's not much that you can really do about this. You can stick up maybe a deployable shield here to sort of help a little bit, but you're going to be vulnerable from that flank. The final secure area position is going to be located in the visa office. This is another interesting one in that you really can't reinforce many of these walls, so you don't have a lot to worry about that way. The entire ceiling above you is vulnerable to cluster charges and partial breaches though, so maybe stick a roamer upstairs to guard against that, and definitely go ahead and reinforce this trapdoor. The other thing I'm going to recommend doing is if you can put Tachanka's turret in this position, check out how many angles of cover you can provide. You can get any of this over here. You can get into the teller office. You can get into the back hallway once they come further in. And then you're actually protected by this large pillar from the window if they do breach over there. Hostage rescue mode, like secure area, only has one room to defend. So take the same principles you might have applied for bomb defusal and apply them here, and just kind of keep them more confined to a smaller area. The unique room for hostage rescue, though, is going to be the teller room. The other couple of positions are the same, but this one is going to be a tighter, smaller area. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can use maybe Castle to reinforce these windows. Make sure you pair them up with the mute jammers. Or you could perhaps keep one of them open and then create a wider zone of control through the door if they come through this area. You're going to want to reinforce this back wall. They could come through here if you're not careful, so reinforce this entire back section. This one you can leave open or reinforce as you decide. One thing I like to do is put a barricade in the door here, and I'll explain why. If you combine that with dropping a hole in this trapdoor, you're going to create a situation where if they breach through here and they want to try to get in the room and you're shooting at them, say you're in the room there and they're trying to navigate around it, it is so easy for them to fall through the hole into that trapdoor there. And now you've created a situation where they can't push forward. They have to, the V wedge kind of pushes them out a little bit, and this is all the room they have to maneuver right here. It's very tight, and you're confining them. Let me know in the comments down below which map walkthrough you'd like to see next. We've got Hereford Base, Chalet, and Russian Cafe. Also keep in mind next week, the new map Yacht is coming out for the Black Ice DLC. So I'll be covering a map walkthrough of that before I resume the other three in the general matchmaking list. Beginning next week, we'll also be doing a Rainbow Six Bronze Credit Pack giveaway. We'll be giving away 4 credit packs per video, so make sure to keep watching for more details on how you can submit your entry and win a credit pack. These are great, they're worth 600 credits. You can apply them towards a Tier 5 weapon skin if you already have some credits laying around. You can use them for a Tier 5 pistol skin or some Tier 3 skins. You can also go ahead and use these toward one of the new operators. If you don't have the season pass or you don't have the 25,000 renown needed to unlock one, on February 9th, you could use the 600 credits to unlock one of the operators even if you don't have enough renown saved up. Now, coming up real soon, we're going to be covering all the new Black Ice information. So the new map, the new operators, any new modes, weapon skins, all the new content is going to be covered here. So if you haven't already, please make sure you like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest information. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.